Very good evening from Look North. Yorkshire's troubled tourism agency, Welcome to Yorkshire, has appointed a new chief executive. James Mason will replace Sir Gary Verity, who resigned in March on health grounds after an investigation involving his expenses.
The new chief executive faces a difficult job as Welcome to Yorkshire struggles to put past troubles behind it. It faces a funding crisis as paying members pull out and local councils question how their money is being spent. Kathy Killick has our top story. Huddersfield, for instance. Keeley has the details.
Thank you very much, Phil. That's right. Huddersfield is a seat that Labour held with a majority of 12,005 votes at the last election. Barry Shearman was the MP and he's one of the longest serving members of Parliament, having first been elected back in 1979, the year that Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister. Well, he's standing again, but will also face Conservative, Liberal Democrat, Green and Brexit Party candidates trying to unseat him. Olivia Richwold has been speaking to voters in the constituency.
Meet Stephen and Stuart. We look north, Huddersfield.
So, Huddersfield has that big Labour majority, but what about the other constituencies in that area? Well, our correspondent Spencer Stokes has spent the day in the town. Spencer.
Yeah.
You're outside the railway station, Spencer, and a big policy announcement today from Labour on rail travel.
Yeah, they're saying that
all Church of God.
Now, is there a north-south divide when it comes to dance funding? The chief executive of Northern Ballet, Mark Skipper, certainly thinks so.
As the organisation celebrates its 50th year, he's spoken about the difficulty in attracting dancers to Leeds. He partly puts it down to the fact the organisation attracts far less funding than other dance companies. Mark joins us now. Mark, good evening. Nice to see you.
Good evening, thank you.
Now, we're going to see some pictures in a moment because you've had some really high-profile performances, but you say there's still a struggle with funding compared to Southern ballets.
Yeah, absolutely. It is quite tricky. I think it's historic. Our funding is 3.1 million compared to our next closest ballet company, which is English National Ballet, which is based in London, and they get sort of 6.2, 6.3 million. So that really gives us a disadvantage, I think.
And just put into context how many ballet companies, there's only four major.
There's only four major ballet companies. So there's two based in London, and then Birmingham Royal Ballet, who was from London.
The pictures now of the boy in the striped pyjamas. Is the appeal wide enough for more people to engage with it and actually come up here, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we have huge audiences all over the country, and I think that's the most important thing for us. Although we're based here in Leeds, we attract audiences all over the country. I mean, at the moment, I think we're performing in close to 40 venues across the whole of the UK. So ballet is popular, and I think Leeds is a great place to be based for our performances.
Is there an inherent, dare I say this, snobbery, but perhaps between ballet goers in the south of England and maybe the ballet goers, ballet artists perhaps don't want to venture north? Would that be fair to say?
It's possible, but I think it's also about money. I think if you can go and work at the Royal Ballet in London, have a sort of a life living in London, not having to tour, which is a situation that our dancers find themselves, then it has to be more attractive than actually being paid probably half the salary.
And what a talented
amazing, I'm in that heat.
Yeah.
Next tonight, we're delighted to feature a true Yorkshire talent. Kate Rusby from Barnsley has been delighting audiences for decades with her distinctive voice and memorable folk songs.
She's a fantastic artist. Tonight, she's playing a special pre-Christmas gig at BBC Radio Sheffield, and she's there now with Tom Ingle. Tom.
Hi Phil, good evening, welcome.
Good plug, Tom. Thank you very much, live in Sheffield. Now, it's been dominating the skyline in York for nearly a century, but when the Terry's Chocolate Factory and famous Art Deco clock tower was sold off 4 years ago, the clock face was removed.
The clock, with its four faces, could be seen anywhere in the town. Painstaking work to restore it to its former glory has begun today. Michelle Lyons went along.
It was what? Michelle Lyons, BBC Look North, York.
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too. It's a great building, that is.
Yeah,
it's good to see it restored.
Absolutely. We haven't done any work today. We've been gossiping because we haven't seen each other for 2 weeks.
You're back from yet another holiday. Look North, Judith Chalmers. Would you like some weather pictures?
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Because there's been some belters that have been sent in over the last back in double figures, so eventually a lot milder. That is the forecast.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. That's as far as we go. We're going to leave you now with one of Yorkshire's best-known folk singers, Kate Rusby.
Yes, good evening.
From up there with the sunshine today, Keeley?
Yes, and a few nice days to come, looks to me, before it turns more unsettled towards the end of the week. There'll be some cloud in the forecast tomorrow, but generally it looks like a fine day, dry with some bright or sunny spells. And high pressure is never too far away for the first half of the week, and that means it'll be settled with light winds. But you can see how those isobars tighten, and we can see weather fronts moving in, so more unsettled towards the end of the week, but temperatures will climb as well, so it will gradually become a little less cold. A chilly night out there with a touch of ground frost, temperatures generally down to around 3 or 4 degrees, and after a cloudy evening the cloud will tend to thin and break later on in the night. We might even get a little bit of patchy mist or fog by morning, but that will lift quite nicely. And then tomorrow we're looking at variable amounts of cloud. The cloud will be broken to allow some bright or sunny spells, and still a bit of a nip in the air, temperatures only getting up to around 7 or 8 degrees. So let's look at the forecast across the UK. A frosty, really quite frosty and foggy start to the day, particularly for south and southeastern parts. We've got a warning from the Met Office. The fog here could be dense. There could be some disruption from that, the travel, the airports, the roads, and some of that fog may linger well into the day. North of here, across the rest of England, there'll be some bright or sunny spells. The same can be said for northeast Scotland, but for Northern Ireland and western Scotland, a lot more cloud. That cloud could be low enough to produce a little bit of drizzle, and it will be breezy, particularly for that far northwest corner, but here it will be that bit milder. So the forecast generally for this week. Well, the next few days there'll be a lot of dry weather to come, but as we work our way towards the end of the week, wetter and windier conditions, and as that cloud moves in, it means it will get milder as well. So Wednesday, a very similar day actually to Tuesday. There'll be that fog again in that southeast corner, some sunshine elsewhere, more cloud and some showery rain for Northern Ireland, Scotland, edging down into northwest England. A north-south split on Thursday, breezy with some sunshine across the south, outbreaks of rain in the north. It's particularly wet and windy in that far northwest corner.
Thank you very much, Keeley. That's it from us here on Look North, but of course we're back tomorrow morning just before 6 with all your news, travel and weather. Good night.